We have seen how trauma, emotional trauma, can come into being. In doing that, we have, of course, also defined, in a way, that word, trauma. We see that many times, that the description of genesis of something gives a definition that is satisfying. By the suppression, the pressure becomes higher, and thus the contact with an even more intense and more subconscious emotion. That emotion, of course, creates restlessness, lack of inner peace. It also creates possibly a feeling of emptiness. Below emptiness, namely, there is usually hidden very strong latent emotion. Let us think about this in between, just for a moment. Often in literature and in biographies, emptiness is experienced and thought of as a lack. Nothing inspires me. Nothing to me is important anymore, and so on. The opposite is in fact often true. Something else is asking for more attention, and therefore it is hard to have attention for things we like to have attention for. Other persons, a book, a movie, or even the whole world. That something else is not known by us in that situation. It is, as we saw, suppressed and perhaps deformed, and thus, in a way, disguised, which means literally in English, giving wrong guidance. So when things lose their meaning to us, that does not mean that there is lack of meaning, but that there is suppressed meaning. Meanings that are perhaps painful and disillusioning, and ask therefore much inspiration, understanding, character, and so on, to bear and assimilate them. Let us now for a moment try to concretize the genesis of trauma. The easiest way is to think of a child, a sensitive child, and thus a vulnerable child. Suppose the child is nagged at school. All the children create negative thoughts about our child. The creation of negative thoughts as a channel for negative emotion is very hard to withstand, even for adults. We already stated that thoughts are very important. That is also because they tend to become true. When you say 1,000 times to a child that it is bad, stupid or lazy, we contribute to the stupidity, etc. So when the child is confronted with these visitations, it will be sad, angry, hopeless or whatever. Mostly the child will forcefully and decisively suppress these emotions, simply as defense, to be able to resist and show some outer force. That is why there is sometimes much sensitivity behind macho behavior. When we return to the child, we can understand that emotions get hidden. Also the corresponding hidden good, inspiring and enthusiastic emotions, as we have seen in relation with this subject, the important subject of the so-called emptiness. These positive emotions are often also hidden behind pride as a form of defense. As said in a less dramatical way, there are many suppressed and more or less intense so-called negative emotions with everyone. Naturally, we seek liberation of and for these emotions. That is only possible because of acceptance, by means of acceptance, by strict and severe suppression of cynicism. This acceptance, at least this effort to find, symbolize, and accept these emotions, forms a great mainstream in our society, as said. We see it on TV, in movies, and we express them with safe distance on internet. But then a very subtle and very important distinction becomes actual. The next time we have to try and find a good formulation of that distinction.